A keen scrutiny of this case unearthed the shadow of conflict of interest. And in my own view, that is the antithesis of good governance. That's where things are getting wrong. Thorough investigation by EACC officers exposed the money trail of public funds paid to Testimony Enterprises Limited from the question tender and the request for quotation, which ended at the doorstep of Saikatu Estate Developers Limited, and the Benvenue Delta Hotel. That is shown by the flowcharts 1, 2, 3, and 4, clearly demonstrating the money trail. The end result of the money trail is that Saikatu Estate Developers Limited, a company co-owned by Mr. Waititu, first accused, and the daughter received from Testimony Enterprises Limited and Charles Chegembudia a total sum of 18,410,500. That is shown at table 3 at page table 3. I'm not certain about the page because the font could be changing. In addition, Benvenue Delta Hotel, a business name co-owned by Mr. Waititu and Susan, received from Testimony Enterprises Limited and Charles Chegembudia the sum of 7,214,000, which is shown by table 4. I'm not certain about the page. The page keeps changing because of the font, but the table doesn't change because it's derived from the statement and payment vouchers. The defense raised by the first accused person, the second accused person, and fourth accused person failed to account for the checks and funds transfer disbursement made by Testimony Enterprises Limited and its director Charles Chegembudia into the account of Saikatu Estate Developers Limited and Benvenue Delta Hotel, as well as Lake Naivasha Resort Limited. In my view, this defense is, although conflicting, at the same time they contain an equivocal admission of business dealings, which were ongoing between Testimony Enterprises Limited and the fourth accused person, Charles Chegembudia, on the one part, and Saikatu Estate Developers Limited and Benvenue Delta Hotel on the other part. A common version of the defense by first, second, and fourth accused person was that Benvenue Delta Hotel was providing conference facilities, lunch packs, fuel to Testimony Enterprises Limited during the performance of the question tender. This defense by itself is an admission of the complaint conflict of interest. Moreover, the defense by the accused person regarding the services and goods supplied by Benvenue Delta Hotel to Testimony Enterprises Limited is not supported by corresponding documents on the actual transaction. Second line of defense adopted by Mr. Waititu and Chege was an alleged land sale transaction for parcels of land Nairobi Block 105, 88, 50, and 51. While I do not find any fault in the position that Mr. Waititu, position that was taken by the first accused person that he purchased the 2 parcels of land from the witness, Elizabeth Mahinda, the purported sale transaction between first accused and second accused person, and the sale agreement dated that January 2018 produces D1 number 1 lacks credibility. These transactions were at best afterthoughts made to mislead this court from the truth. The first flaw in the purported agreement is the unexplained contradiction that the power of attorney or D1 XB number 2C, which permitted Elizabeth to sell the plots, consolidated into the parcels, the 2 parcels, is dated 27th April 2018, a date almost 4 months after the agreement dated that of January 2018, D1 XB number 1. Another glaring falsehood in the defense by the first accused and fourth accused is in respect of the sum of 6 million paid by Testimony Enterprises Limited to Lake Naivasha Resort Limited. The truth was told by the independent witness Rab Muyaki Karoki that Chege was making the payment on behalf of Mr. Waititu for the purchase of the property where Delta Hotel was. Now Benvenue Delta Hotel. The receipt producers D5, Exhibit 3, and B were manufactured to suit the accused person's false defense. The receipts are dated 28 August 2018, meant to explain the funds transfer, as well as the receipt dated 28 August 2018, D5, X number 3B were meant to explain the Funds transfer, Producers Act number 97D2, dated 27 September 2018, is a factual example that the accused persons were not telling the truth. You can look at the dates, and then you'll be able to see, honestly, the dates are different. If the funds transfer in September and you are making receipt even before you do the payment, the funds transfer, now how can that one be correct? In absence of credible account for the money is received by Waititu Estate Developers Limited, the Benvenue Delta Hotel, the only inevitable conclusion that Testimony Developers Limited and Mr. Chege were remitting kickbacks to the former governor through his business entities. Constitution has placed a strict divide line for the governor to choose between public trust and business, which could lead to conflict of interest. I hold that friendship, self-enrichment, and business association are no place in public service and governance, which requires self-service, which requires a selfless service. Unfortunately for the governor, on his first term as the governor of Kiambu County government, he failed in his oath of office and allowed personal interest to supersede the public interest to safeguard public funds. He resorted to siphoning funds, public funds, into his pockets through the network of companies, Testimony Developers Limited, Waititu Estate Developers, the Benvenue Delta Hotel. He thus joined the ranks of the trio and actors behind the covert corruption scheme, evident in this tender. And I have no doubt that the involvement of the governor was concealed in a lopsided procurement process and only exposed by the overwhelming evidence on the money trail. These are my determination on the charges. For count number 1. The offense against the first accused person, Waititu Babaya, the former governor of Kiambu County, alleged that between 22nd July 2018 and 13 March 2019, he knowingly acquired the sum of 25,624,500 to stock the payments made to Testimony Developers Limited for the contract awarded to the said government by Kiambu County government. Conflict of interest and economic crime governed by section 42(1), 2, 3, and 4 of the ASECA, which provides conflict of interest if an agent has a direct or indirect private interest in a decision that is privileged to make, the agent is guilty of an offense. If there is a situation in A and the situation in B, and there is 2 and 3, as well as 4. For 48, that's the penal section. In order to make a determination of that charge, the legal definition of the terms public officer and agent are crucial, so as to interpret the element for the offense of conflict of interest. Meaning of an agent is as per section 38 of ASECA. Agent means a person who in any capacity, whether in public or private sector, is employed or acts for and on behalf of another. Status of the first accused person in the Constitution and the law is defined under the following provisions. Governor is the chief executive of the county as per Article 179(4). Is a state officer as per Article 260. He is also a public officer as per Section 2 of the ASECA and Section 2 of the Public Officers Ethics Act. In absence of statutory definition of the phrase conflict of interest, courts have resorted to the definition provided in the legal dictionary and judicial interpretation. First definition appearing in the Black's Law Dictionary, I'll not read it, you'll be able to see it. The second and definition, judicial interpretation is in the case of Bevin Wanjiro Namu as National Police Service Commission and another. 2019 EKLR, decision by Justice Muita. I'll not repeat it. The other definition by Justice Onyego on John Faustin Kinyo as the Republic 2020 EKLR. It is there. And bear in mind this definition, the phrase conflict of interest in the context of the present case would mean a conflict between public officers' fiduciary duty and his private interests. In applying this interpretation, the key element for the offense of conflict of interest under section 42(3) of ASECA, which are relevant to this case, are as follows. The accused person is an agent or a public officer of a public body. Accused while an agent or state officer acquires direct or indirect private interest in conflict of his official duty in contract for the public body. Accused while an agent knowing so acquires the direct or indirect private interest in contracts for the public body. And that, I think I'm repeating. So those are the two elements. And the second element is what forms the mens rea, the guilty mind. Reading from the provision section 42(3) of ASECA and the particular of the offense in count 1 for conflict of interest. For the charge to succeed, prosecutor must establish that the public officer knowingly acquired direct or indirect private interest by receiving benefits in payment made to Testimony Express Limited for contracts awarded by Kiambu County government. In applying these elements of conflict of interest in the present case, it is necessary to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the governor knowingly acquired indirectly a private interest by receiving the sum of 25,624,500 from the payment made to Testimony Express Limited from contracts that were awarded by the Kiambu government. This is the case because the law under section 42(3), by its purposive interpretation, prohibits a governor being an agent from harboring personal interest in contracts with this county government. The rationale in the law restricts a governor from awarding private interest contracts awarded by his county government to avert the untenable conduct where an elected state officer is unable to objectively discharge his official duties because of the competing direct or indirect private interests. It is the intention of the law that private interests hinder a public officer from dedicating his whole to serve the people. A public officer must take keen interest in the affairs of the office. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 then envisages a government based on national values and principles of governance as articulated under Article 10. Under the Constitution, public officers are required to adhere to national values and principles of governance, which include good governance, integrity, transparency, and accountability. To mirror the definition, all these definitions that are meant under Section 38 of ASECA to the facts of this case. First accused person, an elected governor, was an agent of the Kiambu County government, which is a public body. The Gazette notices on the election of the first accused person as a governor produced in evidence as Exhibit number 47 attest to these facts. First accused person, while serving as the governor of Kiambu, indirectly through entities like Waititu Estate Developers Limited and Benvenue Delta Hotel, received the total sum of 25,624,500 from Testimony Express Limited and its directors, Charles Chegebudia. Flowchart number 1, 2, 3, and 4, which I've referred above, illustrate the movement of money and payments made to Testimony Enterprises Limited from the road project tender and request for quotation awarded by the Kiambu County government into the account of the entities like Waititu Estate Developers and Benvenue Delta Hotel. Additionally, under Table 1 and 2, I've also manifested a concise tabulation of payments vouchers raised and paid to Testimony Enterprises Limited in respect of the road project tender and request for quotations. The source of the funds, movement of money from Kiambu County government to Testimony Enterprises Limited bank account, and the movement of money from the bank account of Testimony Enterprises Limited to the entities associated with the government were supported by the unchallenged evidence, which came from the following areas. 1, Kiambu County government central bank accounts, bank account of Testimony Enterprises Limited and Charles Chegebudia, bank account statement of Waititu Estate Developers Limited, the Benvenue Delta Hotel, testimony of the resident engineer on the road projects regarding processing of the payment vouchers and attachments, if me supplier details of Testimony Enterprises Limited. The defense by the governor and the second accused, and the main director of testimony is Enterprise Limited, to explain the reasons of the money.